membership isn't showing up on my YouTube channel for some reason. I can't read chat then. Oh, there it is. Oh. Hello, welcome back to Learning Blender, where the series where I learn Blender. It's daily now, so I will be doing this every night at around this time. So straight into it.
Congrats! You didn't give up. You made it to part 4. You clicked on the next part of the video. There's always like less viewers each video as you go down. So you're here. Well done. Thumbs up.
Thank you.
As you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to learn about sculpting. But first, I should call out, if you have a problem with your mesh now, those problems can be amplified the further you go along. So it helps to do a technical check now. Make sure you don't have any problems before we move along. So to look for it, go into edit mode. And first of all, by the way, if you can't see that middle part of your mesh, it's because you remember we temporarily hid it. So you can bring it back by hitting Alt-H, and that will bring back the rest of the mesh. And then we're looking for issues with the mesh, like right here. So this is a really common problem following this tutorial, because when you're projecting parts of the mesh, if it was like side on to the camera, it will project it that way, and then you can have like overlapping parts of the mesh. So that creates this artifact here, which will be exaggerated when we add more detail to it. So we just want to drag that back. So turn on snapping, and I'll keep proportional turned off, and then I'm just going to move this back over here just to move each of these points back.
Oh, hold on. Proportional editing turned off. Looking for artifacts. Oh, I forgot to open chat. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Right, continue looking for artifacts. Do I see any? No, I do not see any artifacts. It's just the one. Alright. Excuse me.
Another very common problem is you might have parts that have separated from your mesh. Now you can quickly fix this if you just like selected the point and then hit G to move it. When you're in that state, it's also snapping it to the mesh. Now you could do that all the way along, like select, tap G, then click, select.
Alright, hold on. Oh wait, I was clicking hide. Hold on. To unhide, Alt H. Yeah, that's cool. G. Oops. He said I could do that, but I want to hear what I can also do.
Tap G, then click. But that's anybody's got time for that. Let's make Blender do the work for us. So there's a tool that's just designed for this, and it's called the Shrink Wrap Modifier. So over to our trusty modifier stack, we're going to add yet another modifier. So add modifier. It's not under generate, it's under deform, which we haven't accessed before. New modifiers. Ooh, the one we're looking for is shrink wrap. And first of all, hasn't done anything because it needs to know what the target is. What is the mesh that we're shrink wrapping our mesh to? So with this little eyedropper tool, you can see when you've clicked it, my cursor's changed to an eyedropper. And now if I hover over objects, I got the name of it. So I want to click on the object that is the donut, and now it's snapped to the donut and made it worse. Why, Andrew, would you make us do that? Remember, the order of your modifier stack matters. So the reason this happened is because we've done it after the solidify modifier. So it works top to bottom. We want the shrink wrap to happen before any of the extrusion happens. So now that it's there, it's correct. And this is what it looks like before, and this is after. And it's subtle, right? And you'll probably see this across your mesh, like little subtle changes where maybe it just separated off the mesh, which wasn't quite a perfect alignment, but this will just correct that. So great, we don't need this here now. We can just apply it because it was just a once-off operation, and now all our mesh should be perfectly flat. And assuming you haven't got any other issues going on, again, make sure you use my Discord. If you do have issues and you need someone to help, make use of the community. So use that and post your problem, and I'm sure people can help out. All right, so we want to do some sculpting. Now, why do we want to sculpt? Well, because if you look at reference photos of donuts with icing on them, you'll see that icing is obviously a liquid, and liquid does weird things. One of the weird things that it does is that it will pool in certain areas. It's not like a uniform amount all the way on it. So the most obvious being like at the end of this trail here, there would be more that would accumulate at the end there. And I think the reason for it is that because it's a viscous fluid, once it runs out of enough fluid, there's not enough to kind of push it forward, but there's enough for it to build up. So you would have like a build-up here on each of these ends, but you would also have build-ups all along the edge. And you can see it in reference photos. Like here we've got this like clear, was it like a glaze? And basically the areas there where it looks whiter, that's a thickened area. So we essentially want to replicate that across our donut. So we can't do that currently. Like if you go into edit mode, we don't have any mesh to work with because the extrusion, the thickened part, is happening via this modifier. So we need to make the modifier real. So again, we're just going to apply it. Drop down, apply. Now in edit mode, we have that part of the mesh to work with. So we could, if you wanted to, come in here and like select the point.
Oh. I think I did something wrong. Yeah, I definitely did something wrong. Apply? Yeah, the mesh. What? What is going on? Oh man. Man, I messed up. What happened? I can't mess up now. This is a weird. Hey, what have I done? Dude, I don't know what to do now. If I try to apply, so wait, what do I do?
Now we need to work with, so we can't do that.
Oh wait, shrink wrap is gone. Should I just do it? Alright. Hey! I fixed the problem! Oh yeah! I fixed the problem. Alright. That's good. Okay, now we can finally continue on with the tutorial.
Currently, like if you go into edit mode, we don't have any mesh to work with because the extrusion, the thickened part, is happening via this modifier. So we need to make the modifier real. So again, we're just going to apply it. Drop down, apply. Now in edit mode, we have that part of the mesh to work with. So we could, if you wanted to, come in here and like select the points that you want to add, you know, a bulge to, and then very carefully come in and tap G, and then, oh, I've got snapping turned on, turn that off. Pull this out, right, and go like that and go, yep, there's a little bulge there, but that's very tedious to first select a point, then tap a key to move it. It's very tedious. So that's really like, you just need to use another tool to do the job. So edit mode is one tool, and it's good for like very precise things when you need to get precise things. But for more like organic shapes, more freehand stuff, that's where sculpting comes in. So at the top here, we've just been flipping between object and edit mode, but the one underneath it is sculpt mode. So when we go into that mode, you'll see that we have on the left-hand side all of these tools that appear. And I mean, this isn't a sculpting like tutorial, really. We're just really going to scratch the surface. But they do different things, different sculpting things. Like, let's just use the default tool here. Can't really see much happening. Let's just turn up the strength and the size of it. Like, it just pulls out that part of it. And even that quick little one stroke, imagine if you had to select each of those points and pull them out one by one. Like, that's why this tool is the appropriate tool for this kind of job, right? Because it very quickly can enable us to add lots of complex shape. Very cool. So, the tool that we're looking for is actually, it's this one, the inflate brush, which is just conveniently the I hotkey, inflate. By the way, if you want to change the size of brushes in Blender, I mean, you've got these ones here, you've also got the strength slider here, but there is a hotkey just to change the size of the brush with F. So F to change the size of the brush, and you just pull out with your cursor to make it bigger, and then pull in to reduce it, and then do a single left click to confirm. You can also change the strength with Shift F, so Shift F, pull out, click, and then Shift F, pull in, click. Anyways, so if I was to draw on this, you can see that I'm inflating that edge. I can also inflate here, but you very quickly realize, like, look at that. Look at that. What is that, right? The eye is going to see that. As a pro tip, your eye is, like, if you're going low res, don't go low res for things that are round, because your eye is very quickly going to spot low poly things. Actually, just last night I was playing Spider-Man, the Miles Morales one, and there was like this coffee cup that was on a table, and then you walk, and it looks fine, like as a background asset, but then part of it, the mission, you had to go up and read something on the table, and you had to get close to this coffee cup, and it was like 8 vertices. It just looked like almost looked like a nut on a wheel of a car, right? Just like that jagged. So, anyways, what I'm saying is this is a rounded form, so we need more information. We need more detail to sculpt on. The reason this is jagged, and the reason there's not enough detail here, is that just even though we have a subsurf modifier, a subdivision modifier, it's applying it after we do the sculpt mode. So when you're in sculpt mode, it's still just using your raw mesh here, and then it does this as a secondary step. So if we want to sculpt into this detail, we need to apply this. So I'm going to use 2 because I want to have even more detail. So importantly, by the way, if you're applying a modifier, even though you've got 2 levels here, it will always use just the viewport. So your render amount here could be whatever, but when you hit apply, it's just going to apply whatever is in the viewport. So I'm going to go 2 levels and hit apply. Now look at this. Whoo! We have 16 times the detail, because we had level 1, which would be 4x, a 4x multiply, and then 4x of 4x, 16. So we have 16 times.
My computer will not be able to handle that, so I'm just going to keep it like this. You know what I'm saying? But let me see if it will be able to handle that. Okay. I'm very surprised that it was. What? Should I just... What is that? Is that like the center of it? Probably. Alright.
Vertices to play with. So now when we go into sculpt mode, look at it now. When we sculpt, look at that. So much more room to work with, and much more fun. So now that I'm in that state, I'm going to just do little circles with this brush on each of these points here. And the reason I'm doing like little circles like this is that by default the stroke state is, space. You can switch it to airbrush if you want, and then you can just click and hold it there, but I find that to actually be like harder to control. So I just keep it in space mode, and then just do like little circles, and then that enables you to just kind of continue adding more pressure as you move your mouse. So a little circle.
It's really interesting.
Like that. And there you go. Very quickly, already we have a more interesting looking shape across it. So another brush, another tool, I guess you call it. Is it a brush? Or is it, I think it's technically they're called brushes. But anyways, another one that you use all the time is grab, and conveniently it's the hotkey G. And what this does is just like pushing clay with your finger. It's like eh, 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 eh. It's really cool. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm actually just exaggerating the design, because that is what makes appealing design. It's exaggerating the addition and subtraction that you see in a shape, even though in the real world you might not see this like tapered thing like that. Because it's got this bulbous end, you want to draw more attention to that kind of globule at the end there. And to do that, yeah, if you just make this a little bit tapered using this tool, it can do that. And we get to learn about a new tool in Blender, which is the whole point of this tutorial. So, yeah. Alright, pull this around, just click and drag and click and drag. You can change the shape, size of the brush with F. And you've got more time than me, so maybe make this better than what I'm doing really quickly. But just get, generally a shape like that.
Pretty good
it should look
as it is right now.
Nicer. Okay, so now let's do that raised edge all the way around the rim of this. Now, in previous versions of this tutorial, I said just use the inflate brush and then just like draw across it. The problem with this is that this is so imprecise.
Oh, a notification, hold on. Alright, so, unexpected guest, my friend Tico. Hello? Hello. You're on live. Alright. Discord acting up again. Says 1 moment. Alright. I'll give him a moment.
And you can accidentally like draw over another bit, and then you look at it side on and you get these like noticeable like divots across the donut, and it's not very it's very hard to do because you keep like accidentally clicking off it and then on it, and you get this like jagged like dig. It's not very appealing. The point is, so let's go back. We can learn about another tool. It's another excuse to learn about another tool, and that tool is called the mask tool. So it's actually in the list here, but I never remember what it is. It's just hit M for mask, and it's this one. And what this enables you to do is, if you just draw on it, you get this grayed shape, right? And then when you're using another tool, like say you switch to the inflate brush now, and if you draw over this, let me just increase this. Yeah, if you drew over this, you can see it's applying an inflation to everything except the area that is dark. And that's how you can create like, a skin lesion on a zombie or something like that. So a mask is very useful in sculpting, used a lot. And we're going to use it in just this case. What we're going to do is mask out just this area along the rim there. And then we're going to apply a constant inflate value to just the area that we've masked. So first use the mask tool. Mask, and it doesn't really make sense to use like a half opaque mask, so we're going to set the strength all the way to 1, and then I'll use a brush size about here. So essentially, where do I want the inflation? Like, do I want this much?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you.
Awesome. Your live stream appears to be delayed by a lot.
Yes, it is delayed by a lot for some reason.
So here's what I hear right now in your live.
Oh yeah. Damn.
That happened like 2 minutes ago.
That did happen like 2 minutes ago.
It appears you only have one person watching your live.
Which is me. Because I have another tab open to read chat.
Alright. Bro, somebody made an invisible bed.
Invisible bed.
Yes, an invisible bed. And it's an hour long.
Making an invisible bed, part 1 of 37. Ba
So in today's live stream, we're gonna. No, no, that was very loud.
That was very loud. I hope I did this correctly. Inflate. Hi.
He didn't lose it, he quit his job. The TikTok video. But in today's live stream, we're gonna be talking about. I can't say that, never mind. That'll get you instantly. That'll get your YouTube account deleted instantly.
I would not want my YouTube account deleted.
Before you, never mind. Okay. Back to 3D modeling. Instead of like learning models in 3D, I could like do 3D models for you, and then you could just rig those models.
Well, no, I want to actually learn how to 3D model. I want to learn how to 3D model on my own. But I can get.
Okay.
I mean,
That's fair.
I still want you to do the model of my character because you're more experienced than me. But I just want to also learn how to do 3D modeling and animation and stuff like that.
I see. My gut hurts for some reason.
I'm gonna unpause the tutorial now.
Inflation on the rim? No. Probably something about here. And then I'm just going to paint a...
What are you doing?
What? I'm just bored.
Okay.
So I'm making
darkened value all the way across it.
Why can't I get rid of this mask?
My mom's yelling for me. I'll be right back.
Okay. I cannot get rid of the mask. What is happening? Dude. I'm just gonna keep clicking Control Z until it disappears. It's not working. Dude, what? Oh wait, minus. Oh, finally! Plus. Okay, now finally, I can do this.
just want to make sure that it's, you know, fairly even. It doesn't have to be completely perfect, but fairly even across it. And I obviously don't want it to be in this part because that, you know...
Oh, right, there's a... Let me just go ahead and get rid of all the mask everywhere, because... Alright, what... Okay, what is isometric view? Because I don't know what it is. Isometric projection. Isometric projection is a method for visually representing three-dimensional objects in two dimensions in technical and engineering drawings. It's an axonometric projection in which three of the coordinate axes appear equally foreshortened, and the angle between any two of them is 120 degrees. Huh. Ready. So basically, it's so basically isometric is 3D without 3D. No, not 3D without 3D, like I don't know. Don't know what I'm trying to say. So just keep doing this.
The liquid has flowed all the way down and it's broken the trail and it's gone down there, so I don't want any raised area there. And again, I apologize if this was like tedious, but it's a way to learn Blender piece by piece. Okay, hey, speaking of which, I forgot. With the sculpt tools in Blender, for whatever reason, it has assumed by default that you might want to sculpt on the other side of your mesh. So you can see I've got this smear here, and that's because somewhere I was painting over here, I went through the mesh and it painted on the other side of the mesh, over there. Very annoying. So, I'm going to undo it. It's just easier than like repainting that whole thing. And what you want to do with your mask tool is underneath brush, set it to front faces only. And that means when you paint, it should mean that as you draw, it could still happen, just be careful, but it should happen less. It shouldn't happen like on the opposite side of the same mesh. Anyways, it should happen less. By the way, I didn't call it out because it's not essential.
Hello.
But if you do ever want to isolate and only see the selected object, / is the isolation mode. So / on the number pad or the actual normal keyboard will pull you in and out of that state. Anyway, so now with the mask brush, with front faces only enabled, I can paint along it, and it should happen less, essentially. All right, I don't know what to say. But this doesn't take long once you've set it up. And assuming you've got the strength of 1, by the way, you don't want to have areas with like half opaque, right? Because we want to have a constant value across it as we inflate it. And we should get a nice raised edge that goes all the way along the donut. Okay, great. Just clean it up if you've got any areas that look a little untidy, a little Yep. Awesome. All right. So, as I mentioned, the mask will actually mask out the area, so you can't paint on it. We obviously want to only paint on the area that we mask. So we want to invert it by just hitting Control-I, same hotkey as...
Nice, now I can get all the parts that I missed, or notice all the parts that I missed.
Photoshop, etc. And then, obviously, if we went to the inflate brush and then we just painted, like, yes, we're only now painting onto that area, but it also doesn't solve our problem of, like, different values across it. So we want to apply a uniform inflation on just these areas. So there is a tool in the Sculpt Tools called, where is it? Mesh Filter. So I will be honest, it's probably the laziest implementation of a tool in Blender. Like, mesh filters are not really well documented. You kind of have to just learn how they work. But unlike all these other brushes here, the way this one works is it's applying a uniform value to the entire mesh. So it doesn't actually matter where you click on the mesh, it's going to apply it. And it's applying what is in the filter types listed here. So if I just click, this is the other thing I have to learn. If I drag to the right, I'm inflating. If I drag to the left, I'm deflating and sort of subtracting the opposite direction. You just kind of have to learn that that's how this specific tool works. My theory is, by the way, to go on a rant, ZBrush's user experience and interface is so arcane, so badly hodgepodge together from ideas over the last 2 decades. They never had any thought in the process, they just lumped it all in there. And Blender's sculpting tools competes with that. So they're like, hey, yeah, the filter tools, yeah, they're not the easiest to understand, but at least we're not ZBrush. That's my theory. It's my working theory I'm going with. But anyways, point is now that we're in this, you can see we're applying a uniform value to everything.
Point is.
Then, hooray for us. I'm going to set the strength of this to 0.1, and that just means that as I move the cursor, it's applying less of a value for the movement, so I can use smaller movements. The other thing, though, is this is a little, like, it almost looks, if we go into object mode, it looks like a tube almost around the edge of it. It's not very nice. It basically, the edge that we've got here is too hard, so we can smooth out that edge by using mask, smooth mask. Okay. Now, if we use the inflate, just to the right a little bit. I'm just going to go with that. Let's go object mode and see how that looks. That's pretty good. I might actually go just a little bit more, just exaggerate it slightly more. There we go. Great. So, yeah, that's roughly it. Now, there's a little bit of artifacting there because the way the mask works is it's kind of that feathering thing. It's not very exact, and it's kind of got some values in between it. So we can smooth that out in sculpt mode by, first of all, just clearing the mask and then using the smooth tool. By default, it's too high, so just turn it down. And I'm just going to smooth that edge, and that'll just sort of clear up some of this artifacting. It's a little too high. For whatever reason, the smooth tool, which also you can access at any point.
I think it looks good.
Point when you're in sculpt mode, just by holding down shift, and it'll temporarily invoke the smooth tool, and it'll use the value that is on the smooth tool. So you'll be in this mode, and then you hold down shift, and it'll actually not use this value, but the value that's on the smooth tool. Again, ZBrush is the competitor, so some things are a little weird here. Anyways, so it's a little too high. Just turn it down, and now I've got a nice value. And I'm just smoothing this out to just clear up some of the artifacting all the way around the mesh. Ba-doop, boop, boop. And that's it. Lovely. Hey, if you've made it this far, 3D is in the cards. It's for you.